because I think you probably do know it.
So stuff like the Johari window.
Yeah, exactly. This is all from organisations and management, actually. Management. So first of all, though, let's review what we did last week. I was supposed to have a wee quiz, but I might have not printed it.
Trait theories, they focused on sort of the traits of the person, like basically their background, so the whole lot of this, they come from a family of leaders or something.
Yep. Okay. So I've got a quiz for you, but I didn't print it out, so you'll have to do that one. I'll put it online. You can do it online instead. But yes, trait theories.
Yeah. So like this person looks attractive, they have big muscles and stuff, that sort of thing.
About physical or personality traits, there's quite a lot of research around different things that could make a leader.
And then that sort of led into behavioural, didn't it? Because that sort of focusing more on what the person is like that.
What they do.
Get along well with people, good at whatever.
Yeah, it was around what they do in terms of decision-making style, like autocratic versus democratic, and getting people on board and those sorts of things. Then there were contingency theories.
That was sort of how the leadership styles can change according to the situation.
Yeah, that's right. And the situation is critical. You know, like analysing the situation, understanding the situation will affect how you lead in a given scenario and how you make decisions. Influence theories. That was kind of going back to our
did that come under did charismatic leadership come under that, or was that related?
Influence theories was around like where's your source of power?
Oh, you're like talking about referent power.
Yeah, referent power, expert power. You've got position power. You've got legitimate or reward or coercive power. So it's about how you have influence based on that. And then charismatic leadership, it did come into that. It did charismatic leadership and transformational leadership, because obviously they relate to those sources of power as well. So they relate to the referent power and things. So in how you lead is based on that charisma or those sort of ability to motivating people just by being who you are, I guess. So that would come under influence theories, so you're right there. And then relational theories followed on from the influence theories as well, and I looked about those, the follower-leader interaction, the concept of servant leadership, like the leader is there to serve the followers, essentially. And then there was some there's ongoing emerging theories that keep evolving around leadership. There's always something new and interesting coming out from management and leadership schools. So, people continue to be interested in what makes a good leader, I guess. So tonight we're going to look at some more of the practical aspects of it. So there's there were 5 parts to this, and I'm going to try and do 2 parts tonight, and maybe 2 or 3 next week, and see how we go. But like you said, it seems like it's a bit of revision, really.
Some of it also need more revision, but others I'm just like that.
Yeah. There's some stuff in here that I'm like, oh, we've done this lots, and then there's something and I'm like, oh, I've never seen that one before, so we'll do a bit more focus on that. So leadership foundations, one of the keys is to have that level of self-awareness, I guess. And self-awareness involves by having an understanding of yourself and about how others perceive you as well. So a really interesting exercise that you can do, and is an activity for this week if you want to go and do it, in your own time, is to look at, what do you know about yourself? What do others know about you? Get some, if you ask for feedback, that's where you can find out about what others might know about you that you don't know about yourself, so that blind area, which is always interesting and a little bit scary, but really useful. Like if you're a leader or a manager, getting feedback about how you interact can be quite a challenge, but also can make you shift and improve how you lead.
How would you know what's in your unknown area if it's
How
unknown
would you
to
even know?
you and unknown?
And unknown. Well, those are things that are discoverable, essentially. Those are things that you find out about yourself that you didn't know existed, maybe under extreme pressure or in an extreme scenario. All of a sudden you discover something new, and that goes from being in your unknown area into your hidden area or open area.
That to a certain extent fortnight ago.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. How you react under pressure or a crisis or grief or whatever. It's where it's where you learn something new about yourself that nobody else knew, and you never knew as well. And that's part of growing up, I guess. And then your hidden area is things that you know about yourself, but that are private, that you don't necessarily, other people won't necessarily know. So to decrease the size of your hidden area, you can disclose to other people about yourself. You tell people about yourself. It might be that you have quite a large hidden area in your work environment, but not so much in your home or personal environment. People know more about you at home, right? You go to work, you just don't tell everybody everything, because it's that's kind of there's those boundaries there in the workplace as to how much is open and how much is hidden. But as a leader, it's really quite useful to reflect on these aspects and get an understanding of self in relation to that. So leading people, so you remember theories of motivation as well?
Which was the one where it talks about how often you reward someone, or about frequency of...
That was your cognitive... No, that was reinforcement theory, so it's behavioural theories actually. Yeah, behavioural theories of reinforcement, going back to Skinner and Pavlov's dogs and, those experiments of rewards and punishment.
I was watching a video the other day about unethical experiments, and I was talking about how Pavlov's dogs was considered an unethical experiment.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the early psychology experiments. There was the movie's just come out recently about the Stanford prison experiment, for example.
That was one of the ones I mentioned, where they put people into a mock prison environment, but some people had to be pulled out. It was just
they were role playing, but they became so good at it, like they really got into character, and there's a lot of early psychological experimentation that would not pass an ethics committee panel, which is why we have ethics committees and things these days, because you need to make sure that people in those experiments are protected as well. But needs theory, so Maslow's hierarchy of needs with 5 levels.
That's right, it's the fundamental human needs, like
physiological.
Physiological.
Yep, physiological, then physiological, then
I can't remember the names of them, but I can remember sort of what they
safety, then belonging,
and then there was stuff about engagement,
esteem, and self-actualization. Yeah, those are the 5. And basically, you have to have these needs met before you become concerned about the next level needs, before you become concerned about the next level needs. But if you are a leader, your manager, a leader in an organisation, then knowing about where your staff are at in terms of this hierarchy is important. What's driving their behaviour? Is it their desire for respect? Is it their desire for career advancement and personal development? Is it their desire to get on well with their colleagues and have a sense of belonging to an organisation? Do they really just need financial security at this point in time? Are they really just worried about having a roof over their heads? So looking at what's important is key to the needs theory. Hertzberg's two-factor theory basically was another way of looking at it. There were one's like human needs or something. Hygiene, I think.
Hygiene
factors.
Hygiene, that's what it was.
So there's the basics, and the hygiene factors were those, base level pay and having your base needs met. And then there were motivators. And your motivators were things like opportunities for development and growth and learning and career advancement and things.
I could see the thing in my head, but it's going to be whatever side.
That's right, I can't remember them either sometimes. It was, but they still covered essentially the same needs. They're sort of still saying that ultimately humans have those needs, and we can use that information to help us understand and empower our employees. Your cognitive theories were about the thinking processes. So equity theory, we talked about Bob and Tom and the fish processing plant.
That's right, how one gets paid more than the other one thinks
It's unfair.
He's getting paid more than me when we're doing the same job, why should I bother?
So it's really demotivating when people perceive situations of inequity. And equity is not about two people getting paid the same for the same, it's not about two people getting paid the same. It's about two people being rewarded equitably for the same level of input, so they both actually, it doesn't have to be the same, but it has to be an equitable reward, a fair reward. Expectancy theory was about how people have an expectation that performance will lead to an outcome, and performance is an outcome, and the outcome, the effort will lead to performance, that performance will lead to an outcome, and that the outcome has value for them. Remember, it was Vroom's expectancy theory.
Vroom, yeah.
Vroom and Yager, And that linked in with a sort of goal-setting theory as well. But, if no matter how hard you work, you're never going to achieve the desired outcome, then why bother? If no matter how hard you work, you're going to achieve the outcome, but you don't value the outcome, then why bother? If no matter how much effort you put in, you're never going to perform, then why bother? So, people will work towards an outcome if they perceive it's of value and that what they do is actually going to lead to achieving that outcome. And that's why goal setting theory links in with that. We set goals, people work towards achieving them, but it's on the basis that those goals are achievable or that they're smart.
Yeah, I was pretty sure
Smart goals type of thing, definitely. And obviously, none of these, all of these are useful combined. You don't just go, well, we'll just use Maslow's hierarchy then. Because one theory is enough. We actually go, let's consider all of these aspects of human cognition and needs when we're looking at how we motivate and lead people. So it does link into the topic that we were talking about there with Ariana before, remuneration and rewards, essentially. Questions about those ones? So there's so much literature there about motivation. Yeah. You know the difference between extrinsic and intrinsic?
The difference in what?
Extrinsic motivation and intrinsic motivation.
No.
So extrinsic comes from, is being motivated by things outside of yourself. Okay, so that could be pay, or it could be just a thumbs up from your boss, or it could be an Employee of the Month award, or it could be anything outside of yourself. Whereas intrinsic is relating to satisfaction, personal growth, sense of accomplishment. It's something that comes from inside self. Okay, so there's a wee questionnaire that you can do in your own time. To, you can base it on your school, your study, or your job, whatever. What is it that motivates you to do that work? Does it come from inside yourself, or is it coming from external driving forces? Question? The next part around leading people was about empowering people. Okay, so empowering people is looking at different ways of getting people engaged in the decision-making process, I guess. So, the level of trust and, decision-making involvement that they will have will vary within different jobs. So it's about how much freedom, autonomy, and how much you're delegating down to them. Okay. So what this diagram essentially shows, if you can read it at all, is a level of employee skills. So we have, if there's got few skills, if the employees are not very skilled, then it's quite hard to delegate to them because they don't necessarily have the ability to undertake what's required. But if they have many and complex skills, then delegation is more of an option, essentially. Okay. And this links back into some of our situational leadership theories and your idea of follower readiness and things like that. This is the degree of empowerment, low to high. Okay. So whether people have few skills and we've got low empowerment, people have no decision-making discretion, essentially. They just do what they're told. Okay? Versus when they've got highly skilled and you've got high empowerment, so you're empowering people to have freedom to direct their own work, then you can start to have self-directed teams, groups of people undertaking work where they don't need much oversight. Okay, so we're just looking in terms of empowerment at issues of delegation, responsibility, accountability, things that we came back to in organisations and management, and how that can affect their sense of ownership over what they're engaging in, essentially. So here they've got no decision-making discretion. Here they can give some input, but not necessarily make a decision. Here they can help participate in decision making. Here they can make decisions, and at a higher level they are responsible for decisions, processes, strategy at a higher level. Okay. Yeah. And hopefully, as you manage staff in the organisation, you increase their skill level in these different areas. Questions? You mentioned that you also remember forming, storming, gnawing, performing in a journey.
I always pronounce it as a jawning.
A jawning? Why not? Yeah. So I suppose the question is, what leadership behaviours can be undertaken at each stage of that group development model? When they're in the forming stage, getting to know each other, what's the leadership? What's effective leadership going to look like there?
Well, everyone's getting to know each other, I suppose. Having charismatic leadership is helping get to know people.
So if you're the leader of that team, and maybe you've been a delegated leader or a nominated leader or whatever, in that forming process, you can encourage people to get to know each other, like you say. Give people time to, do some team building work. Role model what behaviours you want them to show, essentially, so they start following, as you are. And encourage people to participate, I guess, as well. What about the storming level? What can leaders do there, where people are starting to have a little bit of conflict and jockeying for position a bit?
Making sure everyone gets their fair say.
Good, yeah. So encourage participation from everybody and give everyone an opportunity to have a say. Good. Definitely, yeah. You could help to clarify roles, set some rules, I guess. What about norming? When the conflict's been resolved and people are starting to...
And people can come to a compromise in that stage.
Yep.
So taking ideas and combine them.
Yeah, I suppose at leadership, you're doing a bit of mediating through the process and conflict resolution and trying to facilitate everyone to be involved and everyone to get on board. Reinforcing the positive behaviours that you want people to see, I guess. Performing. Walk out the door and leave them to it.
So they can delegate and...
Delegate, yeah. So help them to self-manage, help them to focus on what the goals are.
So they'll be constantly watching over their shoulder.
Exactly, yeah.
Just sort of be there if they need help.
But if they're in the performing phase, you shouldn't need to be there. Yeah. And adjourning, what are you going to do as the leader in the adjourning phase?
Just encourage everyone to sort of have the say sort of how they feel, things just
get feedback.
And make sure everyone gets to celebrate success.
Celebrate the success? Yeah, absolutely. Good. Yeah, perfect. What did they learn from the process and how are they successful? Okay. So that's a pretty straightforward, we've seen that one before many times, so I think you're reasonably okay with that. This one I'm not sure if you will have come across, the 9 Bellum team roles.
Haven't seen that one.
Haven't seen that one yet, no. Okay. So this one is, I think when we did organisations and management, we did look at different sort of roles within the team, and we talked about sort of dysfunctional roles, group facilitation roles. So people tend to take on different roles in the team. Some people are really positive and proactive and on task and keeping people on track and solving conflicts. Some people might be more disruptive or dysfunctional or playing the clown or whatever. So people do tend to take on different roles. This is just a different model for explaining that same thing. But essentially, there were 9 team roles and they fall into 3 different categories. Okay, so in the action category, you have the completer finisher. So the completer finisher likes to deliver on time, likes to finish the task that's been set. They tend to be painstaking, conscientious, anxious, looking for it to be finished properly. The implementer. The implementer wants ideas to turn into practical outcomes and actions. They want to make stuff happen, okay? And they tend to be quite efficient and reliable and a little conservative. And then there is the shaper. The shaper is trying to shape how things happen, try to influence how things happen, I guess, and can, really sort of lead things in the way that they want them to go. So they're providing a sort of a bit of drive and motivation for people to achieve outcomes as well. So they're really action focused. Then there are the social roles. So these are more about interpersonal relationships. So the coordinator is trying to get people to work well together, promote decision making, work out who's going to do what. Then there's the resource investigator who's looking to find out more information, explore different opportunities, look at different, get different sources of information, I guess. And the team worker who is trying to get everyone to cooperate and they're more diplomatic, like to listen and get, avoid the conflict essentially. The thinking roles, we've got the monitor evaluator. So they like to think carefully and evaluate and look at all of the options and make judgments and tend to be a bit more maybe strategic in how they're looking at the issues at hand. The plant is there to come up with new ideas. Okay, so in this context, the plant, we're talking about a seed, the idea, coming forward. So they're looking at resolving some of the difficult problems. And the specialist is usually there in capacity. They have specialist expertise in a particular area and can provide that knowledge. Okay, so I'm going to give you a matching activity to help you with these ones. So we've got 3 headings. Oh, there's one, team role. Potential, and what I haven't talked to you about is there we go, team role. So I've talked about, what are they actually sort of doing, what are their strengths, but I haven't talked about what their potential weaknesses might be, but that might be where you can think about it and see what you can come up with. weaknesses, aren't they? Gee, you really listened to what I was saying, because you either that or you just worked that out because you got them all right. That's awesome. That's right, we're doing both of those. Good. Well done.
Most, well, sorry.
No, well done. That's pretty impressive actually. I wouldn't go with on that well. That is available on Moodle, so you can have another look at that whole table is on Moodle. If you need to go over it. But essentially, again, you know, just useful, like, you know how you go, oh, I know Tuckman's group processes model, and I know Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and I know those. Now you can say, well, I know Belbin's 19 roles, okay? And it is useful as a leader to be aware of those different roles, and I guess be mindful of which role you're taking on as the leader, and if somebody can take on more than one role, definitely. It's not, you know, limited to having just the one. But yeah, you need to sort of, as the leader, make sure that you're constructing a team that is made up of different, people with different roles within that team. So they're not all trying to do the same thing. So we've got a good balance, I guess. Look at the team structure. And if something's not working, if the team isn't working well together or the project's not working out, then have a think about the sort of roles that people are playing and how you might need to modify them. So there's, out of that, some of the reading around high-performing work teams has come about. And so one of the readings for this week is about high-performance work teams, so you can have a look at that reading and read a little more about that. You probably remember leading change and Kotter's 8-step approach. So, a key aspect of leadership is about managing change and facilitating that for staff. So, being able to go through this, you might call it the 8 steps, whatever Lewin's freeze, unfreeze model, or there's lots of different change management approaches that we looked at previously.
Which is the model of change where you sort of put all the factors for change?
That was the force field one. That's Lewin's force field one.
And then score each one.
Yeah, and score each one and rate them and all of that. So that's one approach to evaluating change. But then in terms of leading people through the change, making sure that they're aware of why it's important, communicate with them, create those small wins, get people on board, get key players involved, and just keep at it until it's embedded within the culture. That's one approach. There's also, and that's sort of a structured approach to leading change, there's also the approach that actually we have to take a really adaptive approach to managing change. We have to continuously learn and rethink and reevaluate where we're going, and that's more of a learning organisation approach, I guess, to looking at change. Peter Sims is one of the big writers on managing organisational change and on leadership, I guess, as well. But for organisational learning to take place, people need that support to learn and a supportive and encouraging environment. They need good organisational systems in place so that they've got a positive climate for doing it and they know what the ground rules are. They know that learning is valued by the organisation and that's embedded in how they do things around here. So learning is acknowledged and rewarded and recognised. And the organisation is actually set up so that it can actually take on feedback from the learning and do something with it and transform itself with the feedback that it's getting from what it's doing. So a learning organisation is a continuously changing, evolving organisation. So that is more of a fluid approach to change, I guess. And that's where you can look at the difference between incremental change and transformational change. Incremental change is change that just happens slowly in small amounts, whereas transformational change is change that is significant and abrupt and huge, like a restructure or a merger or a transfer. Where you've got transformational change, something like Kotter's 8-step approach is possibly a good framework to use. Where you've got an incremental approach, we're talking more about evolving and adapting, then the learning organisation approach is quite relevant. And we also had previously talked about the Elizabeth Kubler-Ross change curve, the grief cycle, shock, denial, frustration, depression, experimentation, decision making, integration. That essentially morale and performance will initially go down as people react negatively, and then the leader's job is to get people to move towards acceptance and integration of the change as quickly as possible.
It's a sort of seems to tie in with something I'm doing for change management. Ian's change management. We talk about the coping cycle and how it explains why change fails.
Exactly.
So that I don't think that's the exact same curve.
Well, the Elizabeth Kubler-Ross one she did initially do the work on grief and coping with grief, and how we initially go into shock and denial and
denial, anger. But is it anger, bargaining, understand this.
Different, slightly different models, slightly different approaches, but yes, we do sort of go through a whole range of sort of emotional responses until we actually ready to accept it, and the time that it takes is the important thing, you know. We need, if you're doing major transformational organisational change, you need people to move into the acceptance phase more quickly, because that's where performance is going to occur. So to facilitate that, we can go back to Cotter's 8 steps and use those principles of communication, engagement, creating, you know, rewarding and recognising wins, and sort of trying to integrate some of that into it. You know, consultation and buy-in and all of those sorts of things. Why do you think change fails?
Well, people aren't motivated, they don't feel it's necessary,
Yeah.
they don't have the skills and knowledge.
Yeah.
A lot of reasons why.
Yeah, exactly. And so the leader's job is to make sure that people are motivated, you know, using our theories of motivation, that they do have the skills and knowledge, because we've appointed people with the right skills and knowledge for the job, you know, that they are empowered, you know, they've got the decision-making ability to make the change work. That is the leader's job, you know. So, yeah, that's a little bit more about leadership and practice. So it's starting to bring together a whole range of the topics that we've covered: organisational management, change management. And it is integral to HR, because a big part of managing HR will be, at some point in time, if you're an HR manager, will be leading organisations through significant change. You know? And so that's got to be a big factor in it. And how do you do that in a legal and constructive and appropriate process that actually means the change is going to work? So lots to do this week. If you feel so inclined, you can do your motivation quiz, your Johari window. It says conducting your research into motivation theories that you're not familiar with. There will be a discussion board activity, which if I haven't read up already, I will tomorrow. Reading on high-performing work teams, and you can do a bit of research around why change fails. But I think the next assignment is available up there for you to do on your... You're still working on one, so that's fine.
Yeah,
You've still got one to work on, so keep working on that as well. I'll just add that to the list.
So as you're talking about sort of researching sort of why change fails, that's basically what I'm doing for
Good.
me.
Excellent. There we go. You'll have an inside head start on that one. That's not assessed or anything, so you know, it's just really for your own learning process, and it might. I haven't looked closely at the next assessment, but it might help inform the next assessment. I'm not sure. Have a look. Okay, so that's us for tonight. Any questions?
No.
No. Right.
Mum hasn't grown or anything, so
That's good. No rocks tonight.
So it's the first night she didn't sleep at all. She slept in my bed and I slept in the armchair or she didn't want to bathe. So